Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, June 19th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. The founder of Fort Wayne-based Sweetwater Sound said plans for a new racetrack in Auburn have come to a halt after talks to purchase the land needed for the project ended. Chuck Sirac told Inside Indiana Business earlier this month that the vision for the track could have resulted in up to $250 million in investment. But the land, encompassing about 300 acres, is owned by Daryl Doden, the founder of Ambassador Enterprises in Fort Wayne, who Sirac said decided he wanted to build a track of his own. Doden could not be reached for comment. Sirac said because of the dispute, his plans for the Auburn track are dead. Amazon Web Services is moving forward with plans to build a $7 billion data center campus in Jasper County after county commissioners approved the project this week. The data center will be built on land owned by Merrillville-based Northern Indiana Public Service Company near its R.M. Schaefer generating station in Wheatfield. The project is expected to create hundreds of permanent jobs. The CEO of Mishawaka-based Franciscan Alliance plans to step down from his position at the end of this year, the nonprofit health system announced today. Kevin Leahy plans to continue with Franciscan as an internal consultant until the end of 2027, when he will retire after 48 years with the organization, including 30 as CEO. The health system said a national search for Leahy's successor is underway. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Dr. Eric Forno, a pediatric pulmonologist at Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, is developing a device that could eventually help people with asthma, COPD, and other breathing conditions stay healthier in real time. Known as Aware, the device uses an adapter tube that connects to a smartphone and can measure lung health by providing instant data.
You may range 90 to 100% on a regular day. If you get below that 90% or below 80%, it will warn you that it's outside of the readout that you normally get. And so either that's a prompt for you to talk to your doctor, or it may eventually give you an idea that your lung health is starting to drop. Maybe an asthma exacerbation is coming. And so it's sort of a screening and a warning.
Forno is collaborating with the University of Pittsburgh to engineer the device. A grant from the Riley Children's Foundation funded its early development, and now he's recruiting hundreds of Hoosiers to test it in a clinical trial. Indiana Governor Mike Braun on Thursday called for a rehearing after state utility regulators approved an AES Indiana rate increase. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission's order on Wednesday will allow AES to collect an additional $71 million from its Indianapolis area customers through base rates, including a 9.5% return on equity, how much investors are repaid. It was the second rate increase that AES has sought since 2023. In a joint statement with Abby Gray, head of the State Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, Braun called the IURC's decision, quote, unacceptable. Evansville Mayor Stephanie Terry says recent economic development announcements are showcasing the great momentum being seen in her city and throughout the entire Southwest Indiana region. Deals totaling more than $114 million, with more in the pipeline, according to Terry, are the result of ongoing collaboration with the Evansville Regional Economic Partnership, or EREP, to boost business attraction and retention.
#1, businesses are seeing there's something's happening here in this part of Indiana, and they want to be a part of that growth. And from the quality of life that we're able to offer here, and then the relationships, I think with businesses and EREP and others in the community, there's really just a collaborative spirit here that everyone's really on the same page and how we can make this place even better than it is today.
Terry said ongoing projects like the I-69 Ohio River crossing, which will add a new bridge connecting Evansville to Henderson, Kentucky, will add to the region's momentum. Former Vice President Mike Pence is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.